Hey everybody, this is David Mercado here. Today we're going to discuss how to establish one common LCM directory for all environments. So what is LCM? Well, LCM is Oracle EPM's Lifecycle Management. And it's been used for many years to migrate EPM components from one environment to the other. So basically it's a promotional path. Traditionally, developers use this method when they're working in one environment and they've developed something or tested something or ran reports and developed new reports, and they want to say, okay, let's migrate it over to production. Rather than having to rebuild that report again, they just migrate these objects using LCM to the other environment. Now, traditionally, again, this has not been supported between different versions. So what you should not be doing is using this method to migrate or upgrade versions from 11.121 to 11.124. That is totally not supported. If you're on 11.121, you should stick to 11.121. If you're on 11.124, you should stick to 11.124. So you go from 11.124 dev to 11.124 prod, 11.121 dev to 11.121 prod, not any different versions. Now, some of you may say that worked when I did security. You're right. Some components do work between slightly different versions, but because it doesn't work across the board, Oracle's position on this is that it should always be the same version that you use LCM on. Now, by default, when you first install LCM, it puts it on the local drive of the foundation server. So if you're, let's say, if you're installing Oracle on the D drive, it would be under your D Oracle instance directory, somewhere in there. And another aspect of that, another challenge to that, is that obviously if you have 3 environments, that means you have to copy components from one server to the other environment's foundation server in order for it to show up in the list of components to import. So let's say you wanted to export something from dev, it dumps it to the local drive on that foundation server. Well, now you have to grab that file somehow, move it to the new server or the target server, plop it down there, and hopefully you'll see it in their shared services file system. So the next step is to establish a shareable LCM directory. Step 1 in that process is to create a network share. Simply put, it's a shareable folder that other people from other environments will be able to see. Now, by other people, I specifically mean the service account for the foundation service. You don't want everyone in the organization to see this share, because it is going to contain files. So you have to be very specific when you give permissions that it's only being given to the service account of the foundation service on the other servers. And what you'll need is read-write permissions to that folder structure. Once you do that, you should verify that that access is working from all the environments. And you do that by, in the Windows environment, you basically go to the run line and put in that UNC path of the new share and make sure that you can get to it from the foundation server. That ensures you that there's no port issues and there's no firewall or permission issues. And you should do the same for all environments. Once you've established that it seems to be working fine, the next step is to actually run the configuration utility from each and every environment. You don't have to do it for each server in the environment. You only have to do it for the foundation server of each environment. You run the configuration utility. There should be an option for common setting. Within common settings, there's a location where you can modify the parameter for the LCM import-export directory. Like I mentioned before, it's probably going to say something like D:/Oracle or E, depending on what the local drive of your foundation server is. What you want to do is delete all that and replace it with the UNC path that you tested before from all the foundation servers. Once you put that in, you save it, run, complete the configuration process, meaning you go through next, finish, and you should not have to reboot or restart anything. Immediately after that change, you should be able to go into shared services from all the environments and look at that directory as the single shared point for all environments. So once you go into shared services and you want to look at the files that were exported or files that were imported, assuming this is a new share, you probably won't see any files there. But once you start creating exports, you will see that all the environments will see the same export file. Now, one of the things you have to be careful of or one of the tips I would recommend, is make sure your naming conventions is very specific to the environment that you're in. You don't want to name something, you don't want to have general names like shared services security. Now that could be shared services security from QA or dev or prod. You don't know if it just says shared services security. So if it's something that you definitely want to move around, you want to make sure everyone's aware of where did that LCM export originate from, so that they're sure they don't inadvertently import something from the wrong location. So that's just my little tip when you're creating these exports in a shareable LCM directory.